Greetings, fellow compatriot. My name's Ndong Emmanuel. I go by the name Capo Daniel. I am the chairman of the Ambazonian People's Right Advocative Platform. Like has been the tradition for over the years, the head of state of the Republic of Cameroon, President Paul Biya, have made a speech, where he addressed the people on this New Year Eve, breaking 2024. And I want to respond and react to that speech as a principal leader of the Ambazonian movement and the most renowned and influential Ambazonian personality that have been fighting this war. It has been 7 years since Paul Biya declared at the airport a war against Ambazonians and a promise to get foreign governments to arrest all Ambazonian activists who were campaigning for human rights in the diaspora and be deported to Cameroon. 7 years after that fight and that declaration, the war continues. President Paul Biya, in his speech, claims that the growth rate of the Cameroon economy stands at 3.7%. At the same speech, he also said that he has struggled to maintain inflation rate to over 6.7%. Any common sense primary school student in economics will tell you that when inflation rate is greater than the growth rate, it completely wipes out any improvement in the economy. Cameroonians are suffering of poverty, hardship. They have the highest rates of Africans trying to leave the continent because they cannot make ends meet. Prices are going off the roof in La République du Cameroon and in our territory. The president of Cameroon claims that the situation in Ground Zero is improving. Less than 2 weeks ago, there was a massive IED attack targeting a Cameroon military convoy in the Menchum Valley that saw the instant death of over 14 Cameroon military personnel. This shows that the president of Cameroon have no feeling or empathy to the young men he has sent to battle to fight against their own black brothers in our territory. It is a shame. Paul Biya, in his speech, claims that the situation have improved and things are getting back to normal. This is a reality. According to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, their annual report, between November and December, over 1,000 new refugees have fled across the border into Nigeria. According to their figure, there are 1.7 million people who have been affected and that needed help because of the ongoing war. According to the figure, the United Nations Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, we have over 638,412 IDPs who are living in Cameroon. So when Paul Biya says that the things are improving, how many IDPs in Victoria or Limbe, how many IDPs who are living in Yaoundé or Douala have returned back home? As a matter of fact, the refugee population have increased significantly, and we now have close to 80,000 refugees that are registered with the United Nations UNHCR in Nigeria. The situation on the ground have not improved. It has gotten worse. When the United Nations is warning of malnutrition amongst children in Ambazonia, in our territory, the president of Cameroon is claiming that things are improving. It's either he is too old, cut off from the reality on the ground, or he has no sympathy or empathy for the humanity of the Anglophones. This is regrettable, but this is déjà vu. It's something we have seen repeatedly in our territory. President Paul Biya says it is now time to embark on the reconstruction plan in our territory. From the word reconstruction, one will believe that you want to reconstruct what you are building, what you have destroyed. What sort of reconstruction plan is Biya talking about? the building of road and developmental projects. These things are natural expectation of every society for responsible governments to provide. But for the past 60 years, the Cameroon government have destroyed the infrastructure that we inherited from both the Germans and the British era where they rule our country. Our railroad have shrunk, our tar road have been destroyed, and all the promises about Ring Road, Tico Airport, our coastal deep sea port have all been fake promises that have been made for generations and generations and years after years. We cannot believe or count in Cameroon because they don't have the capacity to develop even their own country, let alone reconstructing our own territory. We are not against development. Through our engagement with the UNDP, we have approved several projects, developmental projects in our territory. The lives that needs to be reconstructed have not been reconstructed. Have Paul Biya reconstruct or rebuild the life of our refugees? Have Kwakwa village that was burned by the Cameroon military been rebuilt? Have the families of Mami Appiah be compensated? Are the family of Samsoya, the children of Ngarbu, have their case have justice? Mancho BBC, who was arrested, who was a teacher in Bamenda, is still lavishing in prison, even when the Cameroon's own Grand National Dialogue had concluded that our cause is just and we have legitimate grievances that our people were protesting against. What sort of reconstruction is Paul Biya talking about? You only reconstruct after you have destroyed. The only thing destroyed in this war is the life of our people, our identity, and our dignity. We seek not to destroy Cameroon because we, the Anglophone people, are the people that made that country bilingual and have brought a lot of input, including the wealth of that country that comes from our natural resources. All we seek is the respect of our human dignity and our rights to self-determination and to have a say on how things move forward. Our parents are suffering tremendously as a result of this war that was brought to us by Paul Biya. From Bimbie to Akwaya, from Com to Boom, from Mamfe to Bisongabang, our children are facing malnutrition, insecurity. They are suffering not only from the brutal regime of La République du Cameroun, but also our war and our resistance have evolved to some level of violence which we recognize and we have condemned. He seems to be more obsessed about continuing this war than to seek for relief for the suffering people of our country. On both sides, he has no empathy for the young, poor families that he recruits within his own country to send to die in our territory. Neither does he have empathy to our own people. But I, as a leader of our struggle, a young man who rose up as an activist, standing up to react to the brutal reaction that that Paul Biya had against our people, who were demanding protection for their identity. When the lawyers and the teachers rose up, we fight to protect our education system. We fight for real bilingualism, and we had to pick up weapons to defend ourselves against the brutal approach of the Cameroon army. I've considered the suffering of our people, the brutal nature of the regime, the reaction of the international community, and have extended a green leaf to the Cameroon government to seize this opportunity and have real and direct dialogue about the future of our country. If Cameroon is a bilingual country, it is thanks to us, the Anglophones. This is not a surrender. This is not weakness, but this is out of love for our suffering people. We must put this war to an end. Mancho BBC, Pen Terence, all those Anglophones who are lavishing in prison for things they stood up for that have been recognized by the state of Cameroon through its national dialogue as legitimate. Those innocent individuals have to go back home. Let our people go. A lot of people in Yaoundé, from information I'm getting, are trying to take responsibility or ownership of the initiative of an alternative solution that will protect the rights of our people within the context of Cameroon and preserve our national identity as the people of the former British Southern Cameroon have come up as usual. I want to inform the world and the public that the decision I have made to pursue this direct negotiation and an alternative solution other than direct independence now for Ambazonia has nothing to do with anybody or any bribe or anything, but have everything to do with my love for our people, the suffering of our women and our children from the beginning of this crisis, and a very bleak future that awaits all of us. One of my closest advisors, who are my mothers in Ground Zero, are the reasons why we made this decision to engage on direct negotiation with La République du Cameroon. And the Cameroon government should take full advantage and man up to negotiate an acceptable solution to bring an end to this war. Issa Chiruma was once a fighter who picked up weapons against the state of Cameroon. He was not sent into some type of a rehabilitation or DDR center. The Bassa and the Bamileke who fought during the Makiza War were not rehabilitated. Ambazonian fighters don't need rehabilitation. They need justice. They need to be integrated into the law and order of their country because they are the true defender of their territory. Cameroon cannot win this war outrightly. Cameroon government do not have any legitimate concern to govern our territory because for the past 7 years, there have been no significant electoral process that have taken place in our territory. We are going to seek through direct negotiation with the state of Cameroon the possibility of an autonomous Ambazonia where we can elect through direct election our own governors. Our people deserve the right to not just elect through direct election their own representatives, but also the right to make decisions about their own development and manage their budgets. Bilingualism is not a means of bilingualism can not longer be used as a means to dominate our territory. We have good examples of bilingual countries like Canada, where the minority French people have the rights to their identity and the French language in a bilingual Canada remains the primary and dominant language in Quebec and all French-speaking areas in Canada. We cannot have a territory where 99% of the population are Anglophones and 80% of their administrators are Francophones. Nobody can go to Mvomeka and impose on the people of Mvomeka English administrators who do not speak neither the local language or proper French. We need our international airport. We need our international deep sea port. We do not need promises from the government of Cameroon. We need to be able to be empowered to build our own seaports, to build our own airports, and to run and manage our own economy. The English legal system, the common law practice of our territory demands that our judiciary be free and separated from the state. It requires that the Anglophone Bar Association becomes a reality where magistrates are not simply appointed. Diversity is not a curse. We have shed enough blood to fight for our identity. The Cameroon government must come to recognize that our identity will never be undermined, and Cameroon will never rule our territory without concern. The resistance will continue until a just, amicable, and acceptable solution is found that will meet the expectation and aspiration of our people, where they can live with all their human rights and dignity to their identity, and their heritage of their territorial integrity is respected. I call on all the various Ambazonian groups, leaders, and personalities to come together so that we can make this dream happen. I invite all French sectors in French-speaking Cameroon to come together, and let's start to do the hard work for a new social contract that can preserve peace sustainably and give our people a chance to develop themselves. We do not need reconstruction. We need reconciliation. We need healing, and we need justice. We need a space where the Anglophones of the former British Southern Cameroon can live in peace, can speak the language they want to, can make decisions about their own development, and be able to hold those who rule them to account. The so-called public reconciliator have no power even over the affairs that are being managed by the DOs and the SDOs and the governors, who manage everything basically. It is not acceptable, and will pursue resistance until we will have our say in the future of our territory. God bless you all.